Welcome to the Robotics Through Science Fiction podcast. I'm Robin Murphy, and in this episode, I'll review Walter Tevis's critical darling, Mockingbird, where Brave New World 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 meet THX 1139. Mockingbird is considered a minor classic in literature. Although it was written in 1980, it could just as easily be mistaken for a 2018 cautionary tale about millennials written by Dave Eggers as a follow-up to The Circle. Like Eggers, Tevis is no slouch of a writer. He's best known for movie adaptations of his other books, The Hustler and The Color of Money, and the cult sci-fi The Man Who Fell to Earth. Oh, David Bowie, we miss you. Mockingbird is not particularly accurate about robots, but it is very readable, especially as it builds momentum after the first few chapters, and unlike Brave New World in 1984, the human characters are much more likable. The backstory is that in a post-scarcity future, robots have become ubiquitous, people no longer have to work. Instead, people focus on self-actualization, and they prize personal privacy above any sort of human attachment or endeavor. Whereas 1984 had the newspeak, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, the mantras imposed on the masses by the robot government in Mockingbird are the more pernicious, don't ask, relax, quick sex is best, when in doubt, forget it. Like Fahrenheit 451, reading is against the law, although no one is actively burning books. In the midst of this robots know best regime, the population has declined dramatically and may be dwindling to the point of no return. Mockingbird also has the Brave New World journey through a post-apocalyptic and Arctic landscape outside of the tightly controlled state-run cities. But what Mockingbird has that these bona fide classics don't have is a THX 1138 sensibility, where the world is controlled by benevolent robots enabling people to self-medicate their way into bliss. For the ambitious being a relative term here, college now consists of advanced techniques in how to reach an orgasm only through controlled hallucinations. In the future, even touching yourself is too much of an effort, an intrusion into your headspace. Without ever explicitly stating it, Mockingbird introduces the questions of whether the caretaking robots are evil. Michael Bishop, the Nebula Award-winning author, pointed out in his review for the Washington Post that the protagonist robot Spofford could be read as a mechanical Lucifer. Spofford is tasked with assisting mankind, but he wants to be literally a fallen angel. Other biblical analogies are also hard to miss, but especially Mary Lou, a fugitive for the state, offers Paul a purloined sandwich and the opportunity to rebel in front of the Python exhibit at the zoo. And, nice touch, the Python is a robot. The review noted the book possibly would have been better if it had focused more on Spofford the robot rather than Paul and Mary Lou as Adam and Eve. And Bishop's right. Spofford's not particularly interesting as a robot, except in probing what a truly suicidally depressed Marvin the robot from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy would actually be like. Note, Spofford is not played for comic relief. The suicidal depression is for real and has real consequences. So, robots as de facto angels? Maybe. Robots are certainly intended to be helpful in Mockingbird. They've taken over all the means of production, act as daily servants, and do everything needed to allow humans to pursue inward self-actualization, and an extreme outcome of the human potential movement in the 60s that peaked with the S training courses in the 70s. And the robots have a touch of the supernatural. The autonomous vehicles can actually read a person's thought to determine the desired destination and to change the music playlist along the way. But unlike angels, different models of robots can be very stupid. Some categories are matter-of-factly referred to as moron robots because they're basically factory automation with extremely limited scope of abilities, initiative, and intelligence. And you can see the autonomy topic on the main webpage for discussions of automation versus autonomy. But for example, robot factories can detect and recycle defects in manufacturing, but not fix the root cause. And putting trust in robots as though they were angels representing our better selves may be unfounded, especially as there are no checks and balances. Angels presumably have God looking over their winged shoulders. My recommendation is to read Mockingbird, especially if you're in the mood for a less violent, more intellectual dystopian view of the post-scarcity world, or if you're a bit annoyed with everyone demanding to be treated as a special snowflake. Because at the end of the day, who needs a robot uprising? We'll just hand over authority to them.